History does not only remember the wars that were fought, the victories celebrated, and the empires that rose or fell. Some of the most consequential moments in human history are those that never happened, the crises narrowly avoided, the blueprints of conflict drafted in secret chambers, and decisions made in the shadows that preserved peace by the narrowest of margins. Among these forgotten moments lies one story of terrifying potential: the World War plan that almost happened. A plan so audacious, so meticulously calculated, that its execution could have engulfed continents in flames. Yet, by fortune, strategy, diplomacy, and human hesitation, it never came to pass. 10. The world on edge. The early 20th century was a world simmering with tension. Nations were arming themselves with unprecedented speed, forging alliances in secret, and expanding empires without the knowledge of the common citizen. Military exercises became veiled demonstrations of power. Intelligence reports were coded in secrecy, and maps were studied as sacred guides for potential conflict. Ordinary people carried on with daily life, unaware that the fate of millions rested on decisions no one outside the corridors of power could see. In this fragile equilibrium, every misstep, every misinterpreted message, every whispered rumor had the potential to tip the world into catastrophe. 9. The blueprint emerges. Within the walls of undisclosed war rooms, strategists labored over a plan that would, if enacted, have redirected history. Every detail mattered. Troop movements were meticulously plotted, supply lines for millions mapped, and contingencies accounted for in case a single operation failed. Naval deployments were coordinated with land offensives, air reconnaissance scheduled to anticipate enemy movements, and communications designed to be unbreakable yet rapid. This was more than a plan for war. It was a document of global control, a masterstroke of strategic calculation, and a potential spark for devastation the world was unprepared to face. 8. Espionage and shadows. The plan's existence did not remain a secret for long. Intelligence networks scrambled to uncover its details, sending spies across continents to intercept messages, observe troop movements, and gather rumors from foreign courts. Double agents infiltrated governments, some acting with loyalty, others motivated by ambition or survival. Each fragment of information could trigger paranoia. Each intercepted letter could accelerate the march toward conflict. Meanwhile, nations sought to deceive, to mislead, to implant false intelligence, knowing that understanding or misinterpreting the plan could tilt the balance of power. 7. Diplomatic tensions mount. Diplomacy moved quietly but urgently in parallel. Envoys were dispatched on secret missions. Back-channel communications ensured that nations tested intentions without alarming the public. And clandestine agreements were forged to prevent escalation. Leaders walked a tightrope. One misstep, one wrong assumption, and the world could erupt into war. Alliances were reconsidered, treaties reinterpreted, and concessions offered in shadows to buy time. The mere possibility of the plan being enacted created a tension that influenced every negotiation, every handshake, and every treaty signed in secrecy. 6. Human stories in shadow. The world's ordinary citizens were largely oblivious to the threat hanging above them. Yet, their lives were already being shaped by it. Soldiers trained for battles that never occurred, marching across barren fields or drilling in fortified positions for campaigns that existed only on paper. Families prepared for emergencies, stockpiling provisions, and bracing for a calamity that never arrived. Merchants adjusted trade routes anticipating blockades or shortages. Scholars, historians, and explorers recorded distant rumors, piecing together an invisible web of tension. Each individual life, unknowingly, became intertwined with decisions made in secret, their fates dictated by the potential of a conflict that almost was. 5. Near-miss battles. Several times, the plan teetered on execution. Troop movements were scheduled, fleets positioned, and artillery readied, only for circumstance to intervene. A sudden storm delayed a naval squadron. A misinterpreted order prevented a battalion from crossing a border. or a single general hesitated to give the command. Entire regions stood at the edge of chaos, armies poised to clash while the world remained oblivious to the brinkmanship occurring beyond sight. These near misses became pivotal. A moment of hesitation, a minor logistical problem, a personal decision prevented what could have been unprecedented global destruction. 4. Economic maneuvers. The ramifications extended beyond the battlefield. Nations adjusted production schedules, stockpiled resources, reinforced ports, and redirected trade flows. Economies shifted to support potential mobilization, creating surpluses in some regions, shortages in others. Merchants unknowingly followed routes influenced by military strategy. Laborers built fortifications, roads, and infrastructure that would never be used in war. The economic consequences of a conflict that never occurred shaped prosperity, scarcity, and national priorities for decades to come, proving that the plan's influence was not merely strategic, but systemic. 3. Secret negotiations and rivalries. At the highest levels, the fate of the plan depended on the personalities of those who held the power. Some leaders were cautious, aware of the catastrophic scale of the potential war. Others were ambitious, intoxicated by the chance to expand influence. Secret negotiations, bribes, threats, and covert communications determined whether the plan would move forward. Rivalries, envy, and fear intertwined with strategy, creating a delicate dance in which a single misstep could ignite global conflict. Human psychology, the fear of failure, the desire for dominance, and the instinct for survival proved as decisive as any military calculation. 2. Lessons etched in time. This near catastrophe illuminates the fragility of history. The line between global survival and devastation often depends on discretion, foresight, and diplomacy rather than brute force alone. Military strength is only as valuable as the wisdom guiding it. The plan's near execution demonstrates that unseen, subtle interventions, decisions made quietly in hidden rooms, can prevent unimaginable destruction. History is shaped not only by what happened, but also by what was avoided, and those lessons remain critical for nations today. 1. The legacy of almost. The world owes its survival to the restraint, foresight, and prudence of a few key individuals. Nations learned to value intelligence gathering, to respect diplomacy, and to anticipate potential crises before they became irreversible. Military doctrines evolved, alliances shifted, and the blueprint itself, long forgotten in archives, became a silent teacher for future generations. The World War plan that almost happened reminds us history is often written not in battles fought, but in wars avoided. That the fate of millions can hang on choices no one outside secret chambers will ever fully understand. Even today, historians debate, had one order been given, one fleet sailed a day earlier, or one message delayed, the trajectory of human civilization could have been altered forever. The story teaches that history is fragile, shaped by strategy, diplomacy, human psychology, and sometimes sheer luck. The world survived not because the war was impossible, but because restraint, intelligence, and courage prevailed when it mattered most.